We eat over 50 million hamburgers a year in the US alone. Yet most people will go years without seeing a living cow or a chicken. The disconnect is intentional. Systems work best when people don't see the source. Out of sight, out of mind. Why are we doing this show? Because Robyn and I are both carnivores. But then we asked ourselves, if the system was clean and transparent and healthy, we'll see the animals everywhere. Something is going on. The fact that we don't see animals everywhere, that tells us something is being hidden. Y'all listen, but stay tuned because we will share why we now have natural flavors in the ground beef at Walmart. Come on now. Come on, sister girls. Before we even get started, let me be very clear about something that we're going to talk about tonight. First of all, Robyn and I are both certified nutritionists. I've been a carnivore since May 26, 2023, which I want to say right around 940 days. But my girl Robyn, over 1,000 days that she has been carnivore. So we're not guessing, we're not theorizing, we are not repeating headlines. We are actually living this in our bodies. It shows up in our lab work, our energy, our healing. Now, here's the question. After this show, you should make the choice of how you're going to eat for the rest of your life, especially since 2026 is almost here. The commercial says we sell billions of burgers every year, but when was the last time you actually saw a cow? Come on now. I ain't talking about the cartoon. I ain't talking about the Chick-fil-A cow. I'm talking about an actual real animal. Does our food system make sense to you? Robyn and I come on here every week because we want you to know we are being tricked and bamboozled. We need for you to see through it. Out of sight, out of mind. You never even think to ask a question, but does our food system really make sense? At the end of this video, we're going to share who is working with lab-grown meat, 3D printed meat, and companies to be aware of. We will share what to watch out for on the labels. Hopefully by now you know to read the labels. All right, Robyn, in someone over 1,000 days of being a carnivore, when did you first realize the food system doesn't add up?
Well, hi everybody. My name is Robyn Heron, and I am your CarnivorousGrama. So glad to be back with you guys again tonight. What I realize is that most of our meat is coming from what they call CAFOs, or concentrated animal feeding operations. Have you guys heard about this? These big, I don't know, manufacturing plants, I guess I will call them, where they're feedlots where they're putting all these animals at. So we don't get to see the animals. These animals are raised in high density facilities that are designed for maximum output, not long-term health, not the health of the animal, right? I will say that I do work with a local farm in my local area. If you can find a farmer to work with to get your beef from, do that. Get your beef, your goat, your lamb, your chicken, whatever you can get from somebody that's local. Animals are centralized. They're kept out of the public view. We do not get to see them so that production can move faster without us, the consumer, seeing the conditions that make the cheap meat possible, right? Because if you were able to see how animals are raised at scale, productions would slow because that transparency creates resistance. Y'all heard of PETA, right? I know y'all heard of them. And questions cost money. So keep that stuff all hidden behind the veil so that we do not get an opportunity to see it. Did you know that modern chickens are bred to reach market weight in as little as 5 to 7 weeks? That pace is not a pace that their bodies were designed to sustain. So while you thought you got a deal on those very large chicken breasts, I just got some chicken breasts out of a bag today, and I'm like, what in the world kind of humongous chickens are these? What kind of chickens are these? The bodies grow faster than the organs, and then they have to add antibiotics. Makes antibiotics become necessary because when muscle growth outpaces organ development, antibiotics become a management tool to keep animals alive long enough to process. This is not traditional farming. Which traditional farming is focused on stewardship of the land, stewardship of the animals. This is manufacturing. That's why we can say that those feedlots are manufacturing plants for food, right? And it's built and generated to optimize for speed, for volume, and for profit. So if people saw how fast the animals are pushed, they'd ask why. Wouldn't you ask why? And keeping them out of sight keeps the system moving. So we do eat meat. And you know that G and I are both carnivores. She just talked about that and how long we've been carnivores, but we do care how our meat is produced. It does matter. And so eating meat does not mean ignoring reality. So where are the animals raised? What parts of the country? Where are you finding these animals at? Where are you going to go if you want to look at a cow in person? So for cattle, Texas is the largest place by far. That is the biggest spot where they're doing production. I'm calling it production because this is manufacturing of cattle. Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, and South Dakota. Those are the top places where cattle are raised. And for poultry, the top places are Georgia, Arkansas, Alabama, Mississippi, and North Carolina. So, gee, if animals are raised this fast and this cheaply, how are burgers sold for $1?
I had to mute myself. I'm so glad you asked me that because subsidies. Oh my God. So, meat is the one thing that's not subsidized. Animal feed is subsidized. The corn, the soy, the wheat, taxpayers backed crops. I can't say this enough. One of the reasons why some of the farmers were crying, so it's not as if they were actually farming our tomatoes. And see, when I heard farmers, I was like, oh my goodness, no, they're pretty much doing corn, soy, wheat, which those are the basis for all of the cheap food that we consume. All right. So cheap feed can make cheap meat, which will make cheap fast food that you can eat. The corn is actually done for animal feed, high fructose corn syrup, corn oil, ethanol, and food additives and fillers. That's why you can ride and see everybody has seen a cornfield. And soy, animal feed, seed oil like soy oil, uh lech lecithins. I know I ain't saying this right. It's a
Lecithin.
emulsifier. There you go, emulsifier in the processed foods, protein isolates, and industrial uses. That's for soy. Wheat, they do refined flour, ultra processed food, animal feed again, and make shelf stable products. So keep those in mind. And the other thing, tobacco and corn is something that I see now, even though not corn, cotton is not a food, but they do press out a cottonseed oil, which is another seed oil used in food products. But hold on, I didn't see the cotton and I didn't see. I'm still trying to figure out what kind of pressing is going on that's getting oil out of grape seeds and oil out of cotton. That's just not, and even with corn, what else is going on? Because I mean, I've eaten corn, you have cornmeal, you have popcorn, just never ever had oil come out of them. So I don't know. Cows aren't eating grass, they're eating subsidized grain that changes the animal's health and the meat. All right, so you're not paying less, you're paying earlier with the taxes and later with your health. We're going to keep talking about this over and over and over. If cows ate only grass, the dollar menu would not exist. But in all of that, we didn't heal eating cheap inputs. We heal eating nutrient dense food. That is that carnivore. So even with everything that I'm saying to you, watch as we continue on in today's broadcast of how it's still better for you than what they do to vegetables. It just is. When we compare vegetables today versus the meat today, the question isn't, is anything perfect? The real question is, which causes less stress and less illness in your body? That's the real question. How vegetables are grown today? Most vegetables are genetically modified or a heavier hybrid. They're designed to listen to this. The vegetables have been genetically modified to resist the pests that land on them so they don't have all of the animals, the little bugs and stuff eating them, that they can tolerate the herbicides, and that they can grow faster and look better on shelves. If you've ever farmed at home, had your little backyard garden, you know doggone well all tomatoes don't come out looking like that. Cucumbers, oh my God, look so deformed. And so many other carrots have like 2-3 legs on them. That's what a real vegetable, but you wouldn't buy it like that. So anytime you see a perfect one, because you really dig for them too, you look, make sure there's no bruises or blemishes. All of them were genetically modified. And now the skin of that plant is made where it's the even the insects won't eat it. But then we rush to get it to make sure that, because we think that's what's best for us. But it's a higher plant dense chemicals in it. The residue from the sprays, thicker fibers now make it even harder to digest. Somewhere someone said in regards to eating celery that don't pull the little strings off of it. That roughage, it binds together and it goes through your colon almost like a Brillo pad, cleaning off the sides of it. No, it don't. It damages you. That skin in your intestines is so thin that one of the reasons why you shouldn't eat nuts and popcorns is because of those hulls will go through and just slice it, and you end up with leaky gut. The those pesticides and stuff are making stronger vegetables much denser and harder for you to digest. It requires the human's gut to work even harder to extract even fewer nutrients, because you're not going to hold a nutrient in with these other toxins that's making the bugs repel it. Think about it. You got bloating, gas, inflammation. Then the autoimmune flare-ups start happening with the IBS, the Crohn's, the lupus. All of those things start flaring up. It's a poor nutrient absorption because your stomach was never designed to break it down, because you don't have multi-chambers. Vegetables today are optimized for industrial farming and not human consumption. And say that to the people in the back. No, humans not supposed to eat it the way they are doing it now. Maybe they heard me. Vegetables are not missing because I know it's like, okay, so now what? They are just not profitable enough to take over the land the way the commodity crops are. So what am I saying? You don't go by and see all of the fields of lettuce and all of these other different things, because corn, wheat, and soy are the main produce from the United States. because it's making the dog foods, it's making the cereals, it's making all of these different things. It's making the pancake batter, it's making all of these things that we can sell cheaply. So, Robyn, tell us why this matters for our health.
So I do want to just pop this comment up here because this is so true. Like the glyphosate, this is what you're talking about, is all those chemicals that are being sprayed on this food. But what we understand is that a lot of our farmland is, well, like you just said, it's not dedicated to the things that we eat. That's why you see things like a lot of places have community gardens and those kinds of things, because you're getting your vegetables from somewhere way across the country. So anyway, the farmland is dedicated to feed crops, just like she was talking about, the corn, the soy, all the feed that the animals need. Fuel crops, so they're making these oils, industrial oils out of it. They're making gas for your car and all those kinds of things, and industrial crops, right? So our food system naturally is producing cheap calories, ultra processed foods, which we know are extremely toxic and cause the things that she's talking about with leaky gut and all that. The seed oils, you guys, leave them doggone seed oils alone. You don't need the canola oil, the soybean oil, the sunflower, safflower. All those seed oils they're not for human consumption. They were meant to lubricate engines or something. So don't eat those. And then all these additives. So this is not nutrient dense food. So, this system is not designed to grow healthy people, right? If it was, then we would see vegetables being grown everywhere. But what I see in my area here in Michigan is a lot of corn and soybeans, right? I do see some watermelons. Like there's some watermelon farms around here.
Hey,
Um,
Robyn, really quick, when I just listened to you say that we don't see farms, but we see medical doctors, hospitals, clinics, urgent care. You'll see that before you'll see a farm. Go ahead.
right. Unless you're seeking it out, looking for it, right? So all of this, like, is the reason why carnivore really does simplify the mess. When most of the country is growing corn, wheat, soy, and cotton for fuel, feed, fillers, and factories, eating becomes complicated. As G always says, we're the only ones out here, what only species that's trying to figure out what we should be eating, because the food situation is super complicated because we're navigating an industrial system that was never designed for health. It was never designed to keep you healthy. Carnivore steps us outside of that system. So instead of trying to track which vegetables were sprayed, which oils were used, which labels are misleading, which processing level is acceptable, which plant was modified to survive the chemicals, we're going to choose foods that are one single ingredient, that they are biologically familiar or bioavailable to our bodies. When we consume it, our body can use it. They're nutrient dense, satiating, and they require very, very few decisions. I make very few decisions about what to eat. So, meat, eggs, animal fat, salt, and water don't ask you to decode the food system, they remove you from it. That's why so many people heal on carnivore, not because it's extreme, but because it's simple in a system that's built on confusion. So, G, talk to us a little bit about these loopholes with organic. What is the system not telling us about organic foods?
I know, because when I was going through like what I needed to do, because, and I'm pretty sure a lot of the listeners, you guys are doing the exact same thing. What's best? So you scroll through, you see this vitamin. I Somebody told me about B12 shots, but I'm so frugal. I say $100 for a shot. Yeah, I just no, I don't think that I'm doing that one, because in a month, that's $400, right? No, I could not see that. So I didn't do that. But it's not that I didn't research it. I'm researching all of these different things, right? And then it's like organic came up. They always find words for us. Y'all, it's just advertising. Organic farming still allows approved pesticides. Let me say that again. They still allow. So you're thinking you're getting something so organic. They're just different chemicals, often used more frequently in a higher volume because they're less potent per spray. So watch this. This one over here is very potent. I spray it once, takes care of it. We got organic over here, so I diluted this one, and so now I need to spray it twice. It's still, come on, I want us to start dissecting things that are being told to us. We got to open our eyes because, once again, because we don't see it every day, we're just really blocking this out. I want you to start questioning everything, make it make sense, right? Organic meat, organic means different chemicals, not no chemicals at all. That's not what it means. By definition, organic crops can't be genetically engineered, but they can have cross contamination happens, especially with wind, pollination, all of everything is still going on around it. It's like I got this side over here that's going to be organic, but this side over here I'm doing, the rain comes and runoff happens, it's still getting into the soil. Organic standards focus on how the food is grown. Okay. It's not talking about the soil mineral content, the nutrient density, human absorption, none of that. They found a word and they have run with it. An organic tomato grown in depleted soil is still a low nutrient dense tomato. Okay. You're trying to find what's best for you. Organic processed food, still processed. You have organic sugar, organic seed oil, organic chips, organic cookies, and all of these they charge you more for. Organic junk food is still junk food. Okay. Organic doesn't equal ethical or humane. It doesn't. Organic is just that word. Organic animals, there's a standard, right? They're still allowed to be in confinement. They're still allowed a feedlot finishing. uh they still don't guarantee pasture access year round. Organic meat can still come from large industrial systems. Imported, a large percentage of organic food is imported where enforcement is weaker on that. Inspections are inconsistent and fraud has been documented because you guys ran out and was willing to pay a little bit more for organic. Organic on paper doesn't mean organic in practice. I need for you to understand that. Organic food can still be harvested early, stored for long periods, shipped thousands of miles. So I would think that my food would need to rot faster if it was so organic, but it doesn't. Time matters for nutrition. Organic doesn't stop degradation. So, organic is better than conventional in many cases, but it's not a guarantee on health. Everything is still processed. The fastest choice is the food that has been messed with the least. That's why one ingredient animal foods lead all the time when it comes to illnesses, even over time. So let's find out this, Robyn, where vegetables are actually grown.
All right, let's talk about it. So, where over one third of our US vegetables are grown is California. So, California also produces most fruit and nuts. It's highly centralized and heavily dependent on irrigation and migrant labor. We hear about this stuff all the time, how it's not raining and they got to figure out how to get the water to the plants and all of that stuff, right? So they have irrigation and migrant labor over there. And then other key vegetable states are Arizona, Florida, Washington, Oregon, Idaho, Michigan, which is my state, New York. And vegetables are grown regionally and seasonally, so not across the entire country. If you think about it, I think George just posted something up in here about seeing some vegetables and like summer fruits in the market right now, and it just doesn't even make sense because yeah, December here in the UK and the stores are full of tropical fruits. It just doesn't look right through the eyes of a carnivore. It does not look right because these fruits are not in season. So you know that they're coming from somewhere out of the country or somewhere else in the world. So that's why you don't see them everywhere. They're being imported in. I'm looking at bananas. Like, we don't get no bananas in Michigan. We do not get grow bananas in Michigan. Michigan is apples and cherry. I can't even think of the name of the thing. You know, those little cherries, peaches, those kinds of things. Seasonally, though. And then meat is grown, right? How is it grown? Because animals are still animals. They're not genetically reprogrammed at the cellular level. They're a lot of them are grain fed and they're raised in these CAFOs, in these commercial feedlots. But the meat itself does remain a complete protein. So here's the thing about cows, right? We talk about this all the time. The cows have a multi-chambered stomach, right? We don't have that. So they're able to chew that stuff up and process it and make it into meat for us. We cannot process it because it's just not designed. Our bodies are not designed to do that. So the remains a complete protein. It has the bioavailable nutrients and it has the fats that the human body recognizes. Even conventionally, feedlot raised meat is easier to digest. It's less with the chemicals, right? We just talked about all those glyphosates and all the different things that they're spraying this food with. And then it's more nutritionally dense than plants. These modern plants, I'm telling you, people are like, well, what about when the Bible said you could eat everything? I'm like, well, when you find something that resembles what was back in the Bible days, you go ahead and eat that. I don't think you're going to find it. So when you improve sourcing, grass fed, pasture raised, right? So when you go from, your conventional feedlot animals, something that's been eating grain all of its life, to now we're switching over to grass-fed, pasture-raised animals, then we get greater benefit from that. But even basic meat, Dr. Berry says eat hot dogs and bologna before you eat a vegetable. Before you eat a potato, eat some hot dogs and bologna.
That would be me.
Even basic meat tends to create less metabolic stress than modern vegetables. So, why meat leads to a less sick body overall is because we don't have a need for genetic modification in order to be productive. We do not receive those plant toxins. I think somebody in here talked about oxalates and lectins already. Those plants are defending themselves through chemical warfare. And so we don't have that. We also don't need fiber. I know they told you. Yes, they said, you need to take some Metamucil every day. You need fiber in order to clean out your colon. But G just told us earlier that fiber is like a Brillo pad. Yes, it's tearing up your gut. So we don't need that fiber to access these nutrients. And the meat also delivers many, many vitamins, not the least of which are B12. She talked about the B12 shots. Get yourself a B12 shot. I just ate a ribeye. That's my B12 shot for the day. Iron, zinc, amino acids, and then fat soluble vitamins. And your body does not have to fight meat to use it. It is bioavailable. Your body is naturally going to be able to absorb it. So here's the comparison. The bottom line is that our vegetables today are altered to survive chemicals, which means that they're harder on the human body. And then our meat today has been altered in the feeding methods, but not the biology of the animal. And it's easier for us to digest. So when everything's processed or altered in some way, the least sick body usually comes from choosing foods that require the least biological negotiation. That's why over time, one ingredient animal foods consistently, you guys, lead to fewer symptoms, less inflammation, and more stability for many people. All right, G. So when people say I can't afford real food, what bill shows up later?
Oh, Oh, wait a minute, make sure. Okay, I'm not muted. Yes. Okay. So what shows up? This is what showed up for me. Chronic inflammation. OMG. It becomes normal to us when the body is constantly defending against what we eat. You have to understand one of the things that Robyn said earlier is eating in the meat, our body recognizes it. All of those things that we are talking about in regards to the chemicals and the wheat, our body doesn't recognize it. I don't care how many times you eat it. So what's going on? That's the reason why we're hearing this insulin resistance. So what is that saying? It's saying that your body is actually resisting the insulin that comes out to fight all the sugars and the processed foods that you are eating. And because it's standing there and it's like, oh, we don't know what to do with this. And then they shove it inside of your fat cells. And then here you are in your joints. All of this is just hurting. It's not cholesterol. Let me just say that.
Right.
This is when your body is constantly defending itself against what you eat. Then we start calling pain, swelling, stiffness. That's just life, honey. We getting older. That's what's supposed to happen. No, it's not. Stop saying that. If you don't get anything else from Robyn and I coming in on Mondays talking with us, it is to deprogram your mind for what it is that you're seeing. Now, when you go out, I really want you to question the fact that you're not seeing these animals, because now this is me. This is not a conspiracy theory, but I told Robyn before the show, I said, because I've always thought about, do you know how many places serve chicken wings? So the first thing they did was teach us that if they cut that wing in half, now the wing is two wings, when in actuality it's one. But we went for that. Out of sight, out of mind. Next thing you know, it's like, give me a 6-piece, and you're actually getting 3 wings because they didn't cut it in half to make it 6. But think of how many places have chicken wings just right now. The restaurants, the grocery stores, some of y'all in y'all house. And it's like, I just believe the reason why we don't see some of the chickens is because they didn't genetically modify where they have 2-3 wings coming off of them so you can't see them. I'm telling you, now y'all don't go tell people that that's true. All I'm saying is I'm starting to think past some stuff. Why you don't want me to see these animals? Because you know doggone well we wouldn't turn around and eat it. Oh, Lord. Insulin resistance shows up very quickly in your body. All right. It doesn't announce itself. It creeps in silently while labs look fine, because that's what they say. Oh, your A1C, you borderline. That insulin is so jacked up. Look at your body. Okay, whether you want to call yourself fluffy, that's what I used to call myself, whatever you want to call yourself, that's coming into play. You're eating the wrong foods and it is inflaming you. Then the fatigue, the joint pain, the brain fog. And you're saying, but we're getting older. So what are we fighting off? We're fighting off arthritis, high blood pressure, diabetes, now dementia. And then you got to be careful. Go get your eyes examined for the glaucoma. And everything I just told you, it happens because of all foods outside of meat. Then comes the diagnosis, the diabetes, the high blood pressure, the autoimmune. Diagnoses don't just appear out of nowhere. They arrive after years and years of ignored signals. You have been ignoring signals in your body, right? Then when the body finally collapse under the weight of chronic metabolic stress. That's what ends up happening. We talked about that. Do you know how many people got dark elbows, darkness under the eyes? And it's like, oh, sis, you need to get some rest. No, 10 years of that food bothering you. And here we go. So then you go and put a topical on it, but it was never a topical. These aren't random things that are happening to you. They are predictable outcomes of the chronic dietary stress. So in carnivore, your labs will normalize, the inflammation drops down tremendously, your weight will start stabilizing, and mental clarity returns. And because of mental clarity, that's why I'm sitting up here thinking the way that I am thinking. Wait a minute, I need to question this. Wait a minute, everybody's going this way. I need to question that. Why is it? Why is that sign saying that? Just start questioning the things around, and you'll realize just how much we're being manipulated. The body doesn't forget what you feed it. It's not going to forget. Cheap food always sends a bill. I can't say that enough. So CTA, oh no, that's not it. Sorry about that, y'all. I know. It's all right.
Oh, it's okay.
But I will say this. We're going to invite you to our Hey Sister Girl Facebook group. But I have been declining people who are not trying to answer the questions at all. If I see no response, I hit decline. I don't look at your name. I don't look at any of that. We have a free Facebook group that shares tips and everything because this is our village. We emphasize unlearning that stuff that we've been taught. Now, I said we would share who's working with lab grown meat or cultivated 3D printed meat. First, language matters. All right. You may not always see the words like lab grown, 3D printed, anything like that on packaging. What you'll see is cultivated meat, cell cultured meat, cell-based protein, fermentation derived protein, novel protein, or alternative protein. Those will be yellow flags for you. These companies are publicly known for developing or investigating lab grown or cultured meat. I'm going to name some places. This is not accusation. This is documented businesses who have invested in this. Upside Foods, Good Meats. What is this?
Aleph?
Aleph Farms, Mosa Meats, Believer Meats, Blue Nalu, and Future Meats Technologies. These companies have received FDA and USDA clearance for limited production. Most of this is for restaurants and not grocery shelves yet. Okay? If you haven't figured out, they're going to find the cheapest product to give the biggest bang for their buck. It's not going to change for you. So these companies are not selling lab meat in stores yet, but they are funding and partnering and positioning for it. And here are these people: Tyson's Food, Cargill, JBS, Nestle, Unilever right here down the street, Bill Gates backed investment funds, Singapore sovereign funds, and Saudi and global AG tech investors. These are companies, I'll say again, that are not selling lab meat in stores yet, but they all are funding and partnering and positioning themselves for it. This matters because distribution power determines what show up in your stores later. As for now, no major U.S. grocery store is openly selling lab-grown meat as a standard product. Okay, so I'll say this again. There is no evidence right now that the US grocery stores are selling lab grown or 3D printed meat in their products. Part of that rumor, we know, I saw it like most of you, that leaked from a recording when a company has denied the regulations, talking about Campbell's, where he said 3D printed meat. Now, I do feel something wasn't right with the meat, but you also understand that they can take scraps, blend them together, put a few fillers in them, and then re-slice them into the little things. That's what your nuggets are. The chicken nuggets. Break them open and look at it, right? Okay. Now I want you to know that the regulations have only been approved for cultured meat for a limited sale in restaurants. Which restaurants? I don't know. But some of your high-end restaurants, no, I don't know the names of those restaurants. I could not find that, but be on the alert for future sales at like Whole Foods, Sprouts, Trader Joe's, or specialty or sustainability focused type retailers. Why? Because novel food products are often introduced where shoppers expect innovation. And you think about it, when you most vegans will go to um uh, a Whole Foods or a Sprouts looking for Impossible Meat, the vegetation, and different things like that. So please note, they will have some there, and possibly that's what the vegans will start eating, lab grown meat, because there's no animal harm to it. So I want you guys to start reading carefully, especially in the next 3 to 5 years. Watch for cell cultured, cultivated, produced via fermentation, animal cell derived, no slaughter required, sustainability grown protein. If it doesn't come from a whole animal, you will be able to identify it. Important. We're not telling anyone what to eat. We're saying know what you are eating and know your benefits. So the main reason why we're doing this show is to help people of color. So Robyn, tell us why this hits the Black community harder.
All right. So, I mean, I'm sure that we have all heard about this term called food deserts. Um, and that means that you can't get good, high quality food in these local areas. They're not by accident. The result of systems that make nutrient dense food scarce while flooding the community with cheap inflammatory options. I mean, I think about the fact, I'm going to tell y'all this, where I grew up, there was no grocery store. There was no grocery store. You had to go across town to get to the grocery store, right? Fast food density, meaning like there's a lot of fast food restaurants around. And so that density is how sickness gets normalized, because when unhealthy food is everywhere, poor health starts to look like a personal failure instead of an environmental design. And that's what has happened. We look at people who are overweight and think something's wrong with them instead of thinking what it is, which is something's wrong with the food,
Mm-hmm.
right? We also normalize illnesses. So illness becomes normalized when entire communities share the same symptoms, turning chronic pain, fatigue, and disease into just how it is instead of the crisis that it is, the metabolic health crisis that it is, you guys. People are dying from stuff that they shouldn't be dying from. We also have this narrative that it's genetic. It's your genetics. You're genetically predisposed to X, Y, and Z. This narrative is convenient because it removes the responsibility from the system while convincing people that they were destined to be sick no matter what they ate. And we are finding out that this is just not true. You may have a propensity toward a certain predisposition, like mine is hypertension. If I eat the same thing my ancestors ate, I'm going to have hypertension. But if I don't, then I don't have to have it, right? And then there's the generational impact. So when food environments stay broken for decades, the damage doesn't just affect one person, it rewires the habits, health, and expectations across the generations. So this didn't start with us. G and I, we're here every Monday talking to you guys, but it didn't start with us. This landed on us. Like, this is a burden for us to come in here and keep talking about this every week and trying to get the word out that it's the food, people. It is the food. And so we're paying a price for, for decades of eating all the wrong foods. So the people that are benefiting, though, from this system are not the ones eating the food, right? The people who are benefiting from this issue are big agriculture. They get paid whether the food heals you or not, and it does not. The food corporations who turn these cheap ingredients into addictive products. Chemical companies who sell pesticides, herbicides, and preservatives. The pharmaceutical companies who's going to profit when the food makes you sick. The insurance company who's going to collect your premium while limiting your care. We've been talking about that over the last few weeks. The healthcare systems that manage the disease instead of preventing it or looking for the root cause. So all these systems benefit when food is cheap, addictive, and inflammatory. They benefit when sickness is common, and they benefit when treatment lasts a lifetime, which it does not have to. But you don't benefit from that. Your family doesn't benefit from it, and your community does not benefit from that. So that's why truth is definitely uncomfortable. And believe you me, we're sitting here every Monday night trying to tell y'all, and it's not comfortable to have people looking at us like we're crazy. But once you see who's profiting, you can understand why nothing's changing, right? This is big money, huge money for these corporations to keep you sick. If you don't need their pill or their Doritos or their seed oils, then that's a lot of money out of their pockets. So this isn't about blaming people for being sick. We definitely have been there. We were sick too. And are still healing. But we're calling out this system that makes sickness profitable and healing inconvenient. And once you know that, you get to decide whether you keep feeding the system or you start feeding yourself. Now, here's a question for you. Why does Walmart ground beef say beef and natural flavors? Beef and natural flavors, because it's just not plain ground beef. It's a seasoned and enhanced product, even if it looks like regular meat. Here's what that means. So natural flavors is a legal term, right? It's not an ingredient. So if it says natural flavors, that's not just one thing, right? It could include flavor extracts, it can include broth, yeast extracts, it can include natural glutamates like an MSG type of a thing, and spice derived concentrates, and literally hundreds of chemicals are part of natural flavors. It can mean almost anything. And a company is not required to list what the exact source of those natural flavors are. So even though it says natural, it's really anything but. It's added flavoring. And why are they adding it to the ground beef? They're standardizing taste across large batches of meat. They want to improve the flavor after freezing, storing this stuff for a long time, having a lower quality of trim that they're using in the batch, and to make the cheaper meat taste better and more consistent. So this is common in large scale retail meat, especially with preformed patties or bulk ground products. So here's the plain distinction that you need to be looking for. Plain ground beef should say one ingredient. Guess what that ingredient is? Beef. It should say nothing else. So, I mean, it's kind of mind boggling that you actually need to read the label on your meat, but you need to read the label on your meat and make sure that it just says one ingredient. Even chicken is being injected with stuff. They say it has an injection of dextrose and broth and yada, 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 right? But the moment you see natural flavors, you'll realize that it's a processed food, even if it's slightly processed. And not necessarily to say that that means that it's poison, but it's no longer a one ingredient food. So, for many people, especially carnivores or those that are healing, natural flavors can trigger inflammation. They can increase your cravings, they can cause digestive issues, and you don't know the source. You don't know what of the hundreds of chemicals that they could have added to this meat or what has been added to yours. So you can't control your exposure if you're not able to tell what it is. So look for the one ingredient food that says just beef. Ask your butcher counter if they grind it in house. Avoid it if it's seasoned, enhanced, or flavor added or has natural flavors. So tonight we wanted to come and talk to you guys about, the difference between plants and animals, eating plants and animals, right? And why even a commercial feedlot animal is going to be better than the plants that you can get today, right? So, but the goal is not to make you afraid to eat. This is freedom through understanding.
Yeah, you guys know that we're normally out of here in 20, 30 minutes. I told Robyn ahead of time, so this show is going to be a little more because I really want you guys to start questioning things. Question. Critical thinking. It's like we are so programmed to get up, take whatever medication that we need to take, get a cup of coffee, get the family out the door, make it to the job. You literally are doing the exact same thing every day, and not thinking about certain things is probably good. But then when a mishap happens, like for instance, your kid gets called into the principal office and you're trying to figure out why. It's the food. I cannot say that enough, because if your child was eating what was proper, then a lot of those tendencies that they do in class, out loud, bursting out, not doing their homework, so on and so forth, that would stop. So you're doing the exact same thing. And there's so many things that we're not asking questions about. We don't have time to watch the news. We don't have time to pick up on the latest trends. None of that, because we're doing the rat race back and forth, back and forth. So I want you to really stop and think about it. Oils were made for engines. You don't need that in your system. All the medication, I want you to be medication free. I Frederick and I are probably some of the very few in this community that had not seen one YouTube video, had not seen one post about the carnivore diet before we went carnivore. We did not. My brother talked to my husband for about 15 minutes. And my husband, it's like, well, I done tried everything else. Let me try that. And
Mhm.
within 2 days, I saw a difference. And I went from a vegan to a carnivore. And when I say to you, best decision that I've made, the only regret is that I didn't start it earlier, that I didn't know about this before some of my loved ones have lost their life, lost their battle. And we're here telling you in enough time.
Yes.
We're at the end of 2025. From what I'm told, insurance is going up. Some of the things that medications that have been lowered, they'll probably go back up. All of these different things are in our near future. But what if you didn't need any of them? Baby, what if they could charge however much they want for the insulin because you
Yeah.
didn't need it? I
Right.
don't care in regards to that. My blood pressure is fine. I don't need any of that. Those bile issues that I was having, they are gone. That's what we want for you. And I don't understand. It should be 50 million people in the comments saying, I'm going to do this for 4 weeks. And G doggone it, we always say 30 days. You won't even give it 30 days. You won't even turn around and see if what I'm saying is true. But guess what you will do? Some of y'all might turn around and say, okay, in January, World Carnivore Month, that you might
Yes.
turn around and do it. But you know what? I had turned around and said, the moment that I get back home, I'm going on a fast. Today is the end of day 4. I didn't say I'm going to wait till Monday. When it comes down to loving me, I want to put me first. I want to fill my cup so I have something to pour over into the next person. So if I look a little tired, I ain't ate in 4 days, but I was doing this as a cleanse for myself because I've had a phenomenal 2025. I cannot tell you enough. Robyn and I, we have that Marco Polo group. We go in there, and my brag is I have done 15. I have ran pretty much a 10K every day this year, and I'm just going to continue it on for the rest of my life. So what does that mean? I haven't eaten, but I still got up and did my steps. And I got all my, well, right now it's probably 14,400 according to the app. The watch will be on my thing, but I've been doing it. I
Mhm.
have made a commitment to myself, and I am placing me first, because guess what? They're going to replace you on that job. Let something happen to you. If you don't already get a layoff for everything that's happening. So don't worry. Fix yourself where you are off all medication. And so,
That's the
Robyn,
thing, G. That is the thing, is that you can be off all of your medication. We were both on medication before we started carnivore. I was on high blood pressure medication, anxiety medication, allergy medication multiple times a day. Come on. We were on
check
medication. G
when
was on those
you
doggone Percocets.
okay.
You know
Y'all
what I'm
better know
saying?
my medicine. Shoot.
I'm
Three
saying, like,
years. 3 years.
you don't need to be on those medications. Change the food and change your life.
That is it. That is it. We will see you guys next week. Hopefully, we see you in the Hey Sister Girl group. You can go to, we have websites. Mine is gbrown.com. You can find me on other platforms in the same thing, carnivorousgrama.com, and our YouTube channels. We appreciate you guys. We got a good show coming for you next week. We will have a guest. But in the meantime and in between time, you rock your thing and I rock mine. We will see you next week.